Hello YouTubers, this is Angela Logan bringing you everyday shenanigans. It is Friday, September 27th, 2019. How are you all doing? I'm going to bring you a story out of Dallas, Texas. This is the story of the female police officer that shot a black man in his apartment last year. Last year, on September 6, 2018, an ex-Dallas police officer by the name of Amber Guyger, 31, shot Botham Jean in his apartment by mistake. He was shot in the torso, and right now, currently, they are into day 5 of the trial, and I have been looking at different comments on social media where she is stating that she was scared for her life. That's why she shot him. But what I really want to get into is the fact that, well, let me lay it out for some of you who didn't follow the story. Excuse me. Okay, so she says that she had been working a 14-hour shift from the police department. She was tired, blah, blah, blah. She parked her car on the 4th floor of the apartment building in the parking garage, but she meant to park on the 3rd floor. She went down the corridor to her alleged apartment, which happens to be Mr. Jean's apartment. Mind you, she says when she got to the door was ajar. As she had put her key into the keyhole, she opened the door and saw a figure standing inside of the apartment. She gave commands to this individual, and he did not comply, so she shot him. That is her version. Okay. Now, mind you, the officers who went to the scene, it has been shown on ABC News, they wore body cams running to the scene because their fellow officer was engaged in a shooting. And as the officers are running up the stairs and to the corridor to her alleged apartment, what do you think I see in the footage when I watched it twice? A red rug was sitting at the door, and I remember hearing that last year or so when all this transpired, that there was a rug at the door. Remember I said that, because I think you know where I'm going with that. Media outlets had been asking the police department for the 911 call of that night and asking for Mr. Botham Jean's autopsy report, which were denied but leaked sometime later. So, I just want to make sure I get all that information out to you. And here is my synopsis on what I just repeated to you about that night. Now that we know that there was a red rug at the door, because it is seen in video footage, so you can't move it or hide it and say it wasn't there, because it was on a body cam of an officer going to the scene. You knew when you got to the damn door that that was not your apartment. So we don't even have to talk about going in the apartment, putting the key in the door. I was groggy. I was foggy. When you got to the door, there was a red rug. You knew that was not your apartment when you saw the rug. I don't care how tired you are. There's no way that once you got to the door itself, you're standing there at the door. How could you miss a bright red rug? At some point, it should have dawned on you, oh my goodness, I've got off the wrong floor. I'm at the wrong apartment. Do you understand what I'm saying? No different than walking down the hall and maybe you see something different on the door, such as a wreath. Okay? One could still say, yeah, she was tired, she didn't pay attention. Well, I'm one of them kind of people. I know this stuff. I've lived in an apartment building where all the numbers were the same in each part of the building. So yes, it's easy for a person to make a mistake, only if the person had never been to the apartment building, not someone who has lived there. Okay? Each side had an A, B, C, D, woo, woo, okay? But the point is, same numbers for different sides of the building. Easy for someone to make a mistake if they've never been to the building and they didn't know that the buildings was divided in different alphabets. But if you've lived in the building, you would know where you are going. Now, mind you, this building didn't have a parking garage, but for the record, the man had a red rug outside. And also on the body cam, when they rush in to render aid to the gentleman on the floor, she's all the way in the apartment. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, why are you all the way in the apartment? Why are you not near the door? Because just like what I said, with the red rug being outside the door, you knew you was at the wrong place anyway. So you can't keep using that as an excuse that you were sleepy, you were groggy. The red door should have woke you up. 2, let's say the rug was not there, and you pushed that door ajar further, and you saw him standing wherever he was standing, at the counter further in, because from my understanding, he was farther into the apartment, into the living area where he was lying down dead or whatever. That's a nice little distance from the front door. It's not 3 feet, 5 feet. It ain't even 10 feet, I don't think. So what I'm still saying is, even if there was no rug at the door and you pushed the door open thinking it was your apartment, once you opened the door, whether you stood at the door and gave commands for him to stop, or you stepped into the apartment and gave commands for him to stop, you didn't realize that that was not your apartment? Once again, sleepy, tired or not, that once you push a door open, whether you stepped in or just stood at the door, you would say, this isn't my place. That's not my chair. That's not my counter. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is bogus to me. Pure D bogus to me. And like I said, I always try to weigh the evidence of any type of storyline dealing with crime, murder, assault, whatever. And this one gave off bells from the jump, which I'm so grateful. Because, there were all types of gossip stirring about the story last year, that they knew each other, that maybe they had something going on, maybe he dated her or messed around with the young lady and it didn't work out. I don't know anything about that. I haven't went in to investigate any of that he said, she said stuff, but right now I prefer to stick to the evidence, and the evidence to me shows that you had enough warning to see that this was not your apartment. And anyone that sits here and says that, well, she was really tired, and as I said, there were things to show you this was not your apartment. The red rug, for one. When you pushed the door open, be it you stood at the door or you stepped your foot over the threshold, you saw that that wasn't your apartment, and yet you shot him anyway. Like I said, I can't see right now if I went into another entrance of this apartment complex and I walked up to a door thinking it was my apartment. Let's say I was tired, groggy, inebriated, whatever. I would know that's not my apartment. And how I would know? By the evidence I'm giving you now. The rug at the door. I have a rug at my door. And so if I go to this other entry and I don't see that same rug, that's the first thing I'm going to say is, this isn't my apartment. Oh man, I done walked up to the wrong apartment. That's my take on this. It's murder to me. And I pray the 12 members find it murder. Because if they don't, I will be livid and I will be pissed off, and I'm sure his family will be pissed off. He looked like he was a nice looking young man. He looked like he was progressive, looked like he was doing things with himself. It was a very nice apartment complex. So you could see these people were, as I say, upwardly mobile, doing, good things career-wise. So that's my take on it. And yeah, I heard the stories last year about the weed smoking, or they found some weed or something in his apartment. Like I always say, stick to the agenda. Because if she had never went in that apartment and shot that man, like I said, from the door or inside, you would have never known he smoked weed, drank beer. You wouldn't know anything about him, because you see, he'd be alive minding his business, and you'd be minding your business. You see, don't throw dirt on the victim because you went in and did a search of their apartment and then you found this and found that. Because my thing is, what were you looking for in there anyway? How about that? You got a dead man laying in the floor or a dying man in the floor. What are you doing searching his apartment? Because you got to remember one thing. That was his apartment. That wasn't her apartment that he walked into. He lived there. You walked into allegedly the wrong apartment. So what was the police doing searching his apartment to find out that he smoked, drank, or whatever his vices were? Hell, if he liked drinking lemonade or soda pop or Cokes only, how would you know that? You wouldn't know that because you didn't have no business in his house searching. And I thought that was foul too when I heard that last year. But you all give me your opinion, because I can't wait to see how this pans out. And I'm sure she is in court sobbing and crying. Yeah, I guess I'd be sobbing and crying too if I thought I might go to prison for a long time for killing somebody in their own damn house. I said it. Anyway, drop your comments below. Tell me what you think, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.